Hello everybody and welcome back to Tlatoani, where last episode we found a source of fresh water out over here that I had previously missed. So we're currently building aqueducts on the way out there, and that's definitely going to get us our prosperity and our culture. The question is our prestige going to be high enough? So the Royal Palace needs access to more diversion. It has 90 out of its 100. Okay, what are we lacking? Plaza, alcove, maybe a sauna? If we were to put in a sauna right out over here, and then if we were to put in an alcove, literally right next to it, right here, something like that. This would need to be supervised by, we've got Tezcatlipoca here, and then a shrine to Tlaloc? Sure, we could do that. So that would be a shrine to Tlaloc about, this is average symmetry. This is strong symmetry. We'll go here. So that'll be overseen by both of these. This will be overseen by this shrine. That looks good. We've got this alcove here as well. So that's noted. Supervision there. This doesn't require supervision. So that should be absolutely fine on the diversion, getting that up to 100 diversion. Now, 100 civic, that's going to be interesting. We're definitely going to need the library, which we can put in right here. And then this is for the education of nobility. Must place at least one tile away from other structures. So that really limits where we can put it. This is strong symmetry right here, though, and I think that's absolutely fine. We'll get that in there. So that will provide a bunch of additional civic to our royal palace. And we could have a collector out in this area, too. So that would be somewhere around here or so. Like that. So this is about boosting up our royal palace here, and the goal is... Oh, we have somebody who's displeased by our lack of devotion. Sure, it's this guy right here. So we could definitely think about putting in strong symmetry there. That seems good. I don't really want to block that. Average symmetry. Ooh, divine symmetry right there. Let's do that. And then I'm thinking maybe one additional up over this way. Weak symmetry. This is strong symmetry. That'll do. Okay, so we'll get some more devotion rolling in there. That looks good. So then, servants and nobles up over here. So we could probably consider putting in a little bit more noble housing up over this way. I don't like blocking this road here. We could maybe extend this road out up here, like this, and then put in a noble compound about here, like that. And then bring in a stone road like this, upgrade this to stone, and upgrade this to stone, all the way through here, like that. Okay, now, we definitely do need to get our aqueducts in there. Those have been chinampa'd, and we need to check in on our chinampas out over here. These are still underway. Okay. That's absolutely fine. So that all looks good for now. We're just waiting on these chinampas to actually be built out over this way. This is going to be pretty slow out over here, and that's not the primary focus right now. Although we may want to think about putting in a porter yard somewhere around here or so, approximately. And this doesn't have road going along it, does it? So we can have some road, something like this. And then that can connect in right up over here. So porter yard here, and then I'm thinking a porter yard would go somewhere around here. And then I'm thinking a porter yard maybe way out over here, but I'd prefer it to go here. Obviously, the swamps are problematic. So this might be the best place that we can actually put it. And then we just have like a wooden bridge here, and then the road would connect like that. Okay, so something along those lines. Now we can check in on the Royal Palace. It still wants more diversion. Still only getting 95% access, 91% access to the alcove, which is literally right next to it. Providing 14 service, huh? 4 out of 5. Another shrine to Tezcatlipoca might actually boost that up a little bit. So we can do another one of those, perhaps not a temple. I want a shrine to Tezcatlipoca. That would be somewhere over here. This is strong symmetry down here. I like, I guess, this position. So we'll get that in there. That will boost up this alcove to 15 out of 15 diversion. So that looks good. Here, of course, we need to input timber. That doesn't look like timber at all. I mean, it'll get timber. Yeah, I expected to need to import Amate, and that's exactly what we're going to look to do. So where's our importing location? Is that this trading post? Yeah, we're importing Megui here. Do they have any Amate? Do we have anyone anywhere other than the capital that exports Amate? That's a negative. So this is going to have to come from the capital. So I'm going to build a trading post, probably somewhere out over this direction. Actually, there's this barracks up over here. So we could think about putting in a trading post up this way. Somewhere like here. And then that's going to be trading with the capital. This is definitely not ideal. And we're going to bring in some Amate there. And then that's going to need to be distributed up over here. This border yard is full. This border yard is not. So we can have that be getting here. That will go to the library, and that will also go up to this Kalmakak. So that seems fine. So that'll boost up our civic. Now then, health is definitely something that we want to work on. A sweeper up over here is not a bad concept. So I'm going to put that in right... Where are we? Here we go. Right here, believe it or not. And I'm going to have just a little bit of stone road right there. Okay, so that'll give us a sweeper specifically for the Royal Palace. So that'll boost our sweeper access. Our clean water here is coming from what well dipper? This one here? Yeah, that's going to be upgraded by this cistern. We can put in another well dipper right here, which will also, I think, be reached by the cistern. No. But if we put it here, it will be. So this well dipper is also going to get upgraded by this cistern. That seems good. So we'll put that in there, and that'll give us full access to an upgraded well dipper once that's done. We have a sauna right across the way. This has basically full supervision, but another shrine to Tezcatlipoca and Tlaloc would not go amiss in this area. So a shrine to Tlaloc out over here wouldn't be a terrible thing. Divine Symmetry right over here. So I'm thinking right now that we put the shrine to Tlaloc here, and then the shrine to Tezcatlipoca right here. Like that. And that'll boost up this sauna to 20 out of 20, in theory. Okay, so that looks good. This trading post will go out and bring back Amate. I suspect 40 will be sufficient to feed our library and our Kalmakak, maybe? I'm not sure how that's supposed to be pronounced. I'm not sure how any of this is supposed to be pronounced, to be honest. I do not speak Aztec. You may be able to tell. It's not going well. But down over this direction... Yeah, these Chinampas still need a lot of work. That's for sure. So this border yard is under construction. We should probably also have some mason yards just right next to the border yards. So I'm going to put one here, and that's going to be connected out this way is the way we have to go because of the lake tile there. But we'll do a mason yard about here to help protect this area a little bit. And then otherwise, I think we're reasonably fine as far as our reach there goes. So this is going to be getting timber and clay and stone. And that's going to be the same thing out over here. Getting timber, clay, and stone. That was accepting. Getting. Perfect. And then out over here, getting timber, clay, and stone. Now, these are going to be long trips out over this way. That's absolutely understood. I'm not terribly surprised about this. So we'll get this porter yard online. That will, of course, get this mason yard online and get a bunch of this construction over this way finished up. So that all looks good. Our prestige is at 61 out of 70. Looks like our prosperity is high enough. Our population could still use some increases. And to that end, I'm going to put some common homes. I'd love to put them here, but that requires clearance. I'm thinking we can put in a grouping of common homes right up over here. And that is, of course, going to be served by this well dipper. We can put in a sentry post specific to this area up here. We'll have clearance for that. So that will be something like a sentry post here. We could even have a dedicated sweeper up this way if we decide to make this into a fairly large residential area. And then what I'm thinking is we can take a road out this way, like this, so that we can have an additional well dipper up here as well. So that well dipper can go about there, like that. And then we can get some more housing in over this way to boost our population. We know our population needs to come up by some amount, so we'll get that going for now. That seems good. So we still need more access to diversion in this royal palace. I do think that a large market that can hopefully reach the royal palace would not go amiss, somewhere up over this way. That can reach the royal palace. And this porter yard is already getting cloth. We can have it be getting pottery. And we can also have it be... We're going to need to be getting furniture, aren't we? So we can have these guys also import some furniture. I don't love it, but we could definitely do that. Okay, so we'll get that going. You can see our prosperity dropped. That's because these houses aren't upgraded. They'll get there. So we've got this large market here that's going to be feeding this area. Is that fed by this granary? It is. Okay, perfect. So that all looks good for now. Checking in down this direction, this porter yard has been built. It needs to, of course, gather some materials, but we built the mason yard and not the porter yard? Okay, that's odd. We did it again up over here. So that's not necessarily great, right? We don't love it. Hopefully we'll actually come build these porter yards. That would be ideal. We'll see. Some of our security venues are overstretched. That's fine. Our culture is now high enough. Our prosperity is not, but that's mostly because these homes need to upgrade, and that's fine. So our population is up to 7,000 right now, and I would like to continue to develop this area. So let's do something like this. Because I think more houses up over here makes sense. So we can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Perfect. And that might give us enough population, especially once these houses upgrade. I'm thinking that that will be enough. However, we do still need to get our fresh water flowing, and it's kind of slow. What's our current stone deficit? How much stone do we need? 2,600 clay, about 300 stone. That's not too much stone, so that's not a concern. This clay is all down here, right? This is very extensive, and we don't actually need all of this. It's just fine. This is if we wanted to continue to expand, right? Oh, now we're at the corner of the map. That's exciting. So this is just if we wanted to expand. We don't have to, but that is definitely eating up some resources. No doubt about that. This fortress wants weapons, but I'm actually not too concerned about it. So down this direction, we're just not really seeing very much stone coming down here at this time. And that's probably because stone is being replenished in places that we've been building with stone, especially over here. And we'll just have to wait for our storage yards to get their stone up. We do have additional stone production down here. We could expand our stone production. It's maybe not a terrible idea. We could definitely do a stone quarry here and here. And I'm going to do exactly that. So we'll get both of those going, and that's going to increase our stone production by like 50%. So that looks good. We'll get that all underway. Eventually, we'll actually build this. We need 130 timber for it. Okay. Kind of lacking some timber out in this area, and that's because this porter yard is accepting timber. And we've only got the one sawyer over here. So I'm not too concerned about it right now. It'll just take a little while. So we can see here that we've got some amate in. That's great. And we're negative in our current balance. That's understood. What's our... Yeah, we're maxed on that and minimal on our taxes. So that's all fine. I'm not concerned about our funding right now. Although, as we bring in amate and furniture, it might get a little bit spicy. We're having ambience issues right here, and to that end, I'm going to upgrade this road to stone. And we'll see if that's enough. But that is, of course, going to cost stone, and we'll need to get this additional stone production going here, but we definitely have stone flowing in, so that's not too much of an issue. Okay, so all of this stone production over here is looking good. Needs access to more security. Well, we can definitely do that. We could do a sentry post, like, right here. Kind of an awkward place for a sentry post, but we could definitely do it. I want to check in on our noble house up over here. Ambience. Okay. Fair enough. We could certainly put in some gardens out over this way. So I'm going to put in a gardener here. And I believe, can we have gardens directly adjacent to this? No, we can't. That's fine. We can do some gardens kind of like this. We can do gardens here. And then we can do some gardens down this way. Particularly here is a good spot for gardens. And then these two spots right there. This is spots that we can actually build in, so I don't know about that. We could just do something like this and then rework that later. Okay, now we need pulque. So we could definitely do a brewery, but for the moment, we'll see if it's actually that big of an issue. Our prosperity is currently down to 60 out of 70, but it's our prestige that we really need to bring up here. And might is potentially a big area to do that. So we could stop bringing in furniture and start bringing in some obsidian instead. And with that obsidian, we can make our own furniture. Can we import obsidian from any of these guys? Salt here, noted. This is us. Salt and obsidian. Don't bother importing obsidian from the capital then. So let's head out over here, and which one of these is our imports? This one? Okay, we're going to need a different location. So let's put in another trading post out over here, and that's going to need to be one of these. I want one that gives us both salt and obsidian. Okay, here's obsidian and salt. So that's Tlatoani, and that's going to be 120 and 160. I mean, that's kind of a lot. But okay. So we'll get that going there, and let's get some roads put in out over this way for now. There we go, something kind of like that. So that'll be relatively fine. We'll get that going. That will allow us to create weapons and armor to boost our might, and that will also allow us to create furniture. So down over this way, I want to have some furniture makers. I think we're only going to have 2 for right now. So let's give some furnishers right there. Cool. So that'll be fine. We'll get those underway. They take in timber and obsidian to make furniture. And that furniture will, of course, be going to this noble compound eventually. We're going to need a porter yard about here. And this is going to be accepting furniture. We're going to be getting timber. And then we might as well get clay and stone as well. We're going to be accepting furniture. And otherwise, where are we going to put that? I don't know. Well, we definitely need to have a large market up over here somewhere. So let's put that in about... in here. Let's put that in about right here. That'll reach some of this. We can't really fit it in here. I would prefer to have it in this way, but this will do for the time being. So we'll put a large market there. This is going to be getting cloth, and it's going to be getting pottery. And then we are already bringing in Megui here. So that means that we can run a road out over here, about like this, and then up and over like this, and then up and over like this. We're going to want to have at least a couple of breweries out over this way. This porter yard is currently full. I kind of want to find one that isn't full, but it's so conveniently located. Let's just get ourselves a brewery here, 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 and here. I'm going to do 4. That's maybe too much. We'll see. And then we can put in a porter yard here. It does block this road, but I'm okay with that. So this is going to be... we don't really need to be bringing in the Megui here. But I definitely want to be accepting Polk here. Like that. Okay, and then up in an area like this large market is fed by this porter yard, right? And then this can be getting that. So that'll supply it to this royal palace and this modest estate. Now we've got a modest estate down here, and this is fed by this porter yard. That said, this might be in range. No, it's not. We can put another porter yard right out over here, though, and that doesn't connect. We would need to have this road come out over to here, and now it would connect. So this would be getting Polk, and then we'd also have this be getting cloth pottery. That's fine. And then this would be, of course, on timber, clay, and stone, ideally. Okay, so something along the lines of that. So that's this large market fed. We've got this large market fed as well, and then we've just got this one. So we do have the porter yard going in here, and this is going to need to be getting this. I'm going to back off on the clay over on this side, and we're instead going to be getting Polk. Okay, something along the lines of that. That should boost our prosperity quite significantly. Now, how's that aqueduct going? Well, it needs work, but we can see that the Chinampas have at least finished. So that's absolutely great. Let's get these sections of aqueduct at least started. There we go. Okay, so that's underway in theory. I'm not sure if these are actually connected here. I hope they are. We'll find out soon enough. Okay, so we're starting work on some of this aqueduct out over this way. We're definitely having some stone flow out over here. Some of our religious venues are overcrowded. That's not surprising. Some of our forts lack supplies. That's also deeply, deeply unsurprising. So we aren't really using the salt over here right now, and I would like to have... this porter yard is full right now. I would like to have some amount of arms and armor production, maybe around this area. This porter yard is also full, so we'd probably have to have a dedicated porter yard for it. That's okay. For now, I'm going to put in an armorer here and here. And we're going to put in a blade napper here and here. And what that, of course, means is that we're going to have to run a road through here. And that's not terribly surprising. So we'll do something about like that, run the road in here, and then run the road up like that, perhaps. Sure. That seems okay. And then we can have a porter yard that's going to go right up here. And this is going to need to be getting obsidian and salt. And timber. And then it's going to need to be accepting weapons and armor. Like that. And that can actually provide it to this barracks, surprisingly. It's not going to get it out to our fortress over here, or our barracks here, or our barracks here. But for now, that's fine. We can work on that later. Let's just get a base level of production going. So that looks good for now. We've got more space here that we can increase that production on. So that seems okay. We have no more housing for elites. Do we care? Maybe. We could put in a noble compound here, and then that would fit housing like this. Interesting. We could definitely do that. Let's get that going. Our population is very close to our population goal, so we don't really need to grow too much more. Wow, this is one heck of a flood, but it's mostly being held back by our aqueducts at this point. Basically, the entire map is flooded right now, so that's exciting. Out over this way, this border yard has finally been built. And we're making some solid progress on these aqueducts. So that looks very good. It is about time to put a cut in here, though. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we are going to work on getting these guys a little bit more online. They're probably going to need some services out over here eventually. But for now, I think they're going to be fairly well served by what we've got over here. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Dark Horse, Ethan Feldman, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge STL, Rornaz, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video. And as always, I will see you all next time.